Hey guys. So cool to be on this webinar training tonight. I really just want to stop here because I'm just double checking all the settings. So we should be go.
The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hey guys, super excited to be here. How are you all? Hope you all have had a fantastic start to the week. It's now Wednesday. Oh my goodness. I don't know where Monday, Tuesday, or even today have gone, but it's kind of like that, isn't it? I expect everyone's the same. Everyone I've been having conversations with, we're pretty much all in the same boat, right? So super cool. Tonight I want to get stuck straight in and have a look at where we're all at and then get into some kind of content. So who have we got on the line, on the call tonight? Let me double check. Okay, cool, ladies, cool. So what, if you've got any questions, if I talk about, ask any questions, can you just quickly throw it up in the chat box? Because I know where to look now. We're all good to go. Awesome. So I want to start as we normally do and talk about our wins. I want you to start putting up in the chat box, what were some of your biggest wins this week? Yeah, I'm recording now, Pix. We're good. We're good. I know there's a couple of people that couldn't get on the call. So, yep, recording. We're recording. So we're good to go. Okay, guys, up in the chat box, I want to hear, first of all, just put a W or a win, and then what was your biggest win for the week? For the last couple of weeks, because we didn't have a call last week, we all had individual conversations. So I want to know, what have you been your biggest wins? Because I want to share that with the group. Also want to just double check that you can hear me. That's a really good place to start, isn't it? So if someone can just post for me, please, that you can hear me okay. And yes, we can hear you. Awesome. Okay, cool, bananas. So come on. Who have we got some wins from? We want wins, everybody. What have we got here for wins? Type up a win in the chat box. Who have we got? Carolyn, Deborah, Pix. Who else? Want to know what your wins are, guys? Want you to be thinking about this because, you know, we can go the whole week, we can go 2 weeks, we can go almost a lifetime and not acknowledge what our wins are. You know, we're focused, all of us in this program are focused on how we can grow and you know, we've got out there what we want. Sometimes we don't stop and take stock of what's actually working, what we can celebrate. So I really want, I want to hear what your wins are. Biggest win, Pix, emotional clearing. Awesome. Emotional clearing and acknowledgement. Brilliant. Deborah, Carolyn, what are your biggest wins? So what, I'm just going to ask you, because I'm going to stay here for a minute with it, with the wins pick. So I just want you, can you type up what were the biggest kind of benefits or outcomes from you having some emotional clearing? Okay, and Pix typed up her biggest learning too is that she hadn't really acknowledged how her past had affected her. That's awesome, because you know, the more understanding that we get around what has gone on for us, and it doesn't mean we have to stay in that place of you know, the past, but we get locked in our past sometimes without being aware of it. So understanding that and having a different awareness means that we can move forward and we can see how it's impacted. And it's sometimes like the whole kind of map, our road map for our life up to this point becomes clear. I know for me, at a certain point when I got that kind of that biggest aha moment, it was like, you know, me standing there as a young child, and then the whole, you know, almost like one of those kids maps that you have, with all the roadways and things. It was almost like this had been unrolled in front of me, and I could see how that had, you know, kind of played out in my life and how it had manifested in my entire life up until the point when I got that biggest kind of breakthrough. So what else? Now I've identified them, I can work on it. Brilliant. Letting go of the little girl and putting on my big girl pants. Awesome pics. That's so super cool. Acknowledging the impact that, you know, decisions we made about ourselves in our childhood and how that's played out, and being able to release that and let that go and realize now it's about being the big girl, not operating from the little girl who made those decisions based on events that had happened. So awesome acknowledgement, awesome takeaways for you, because that's huge. Okay, guys, who else has got something to put up in the way of wins and learnings? Carolyn, we had a brief conversation, a Facebook conversation, and there's some big things going on for you. So how about a quick win? Just chucking up in the chat box a quick win. What is that? What is that win? And Deborah, I know some of your wins. You know, just love to hear those. But we're not going to sit here and wait. Maybe you can't. Sometimes it's a technology issue. So we're not going to hang out in waiting, but I want you to really make sure that you know, consistently stop, and we'll always do this in the training calls, but I want you to acknowledge your biggest win and what your learnings have been in the week. And for everybody that's not been able to get on the call tonight, I want you to do the same thing as you go through this recording, is I want you to write down and acknowledge what your wins have been, and like celebrate that, because we don't do enough celebrating of what we you know, what we are able to see as wins and our growth and our you know, expansion and what we have achieved. Because it's you know, often we look at what we haven't done as opposed to what we have done. And there's a time and place for both, absolutely. But this tonight in this space, it's about celebrating your biggest wins and learnings. So I want you all to do that, whether you're on the call right now or you're listening to the recording. So the focus in this program is all about getting results, right? So that's about playing full out and about taking action. So there's different levels and different playing fields that you can play full out on. And you know, let's jump back to you, Pix, because you know, you've talked about you know, acknowledging you know, what effect your past has had on you, and that now it's time to let go of that and move into you know, operating from powerful Pix as she is an adult. And you know, in that process you played full out, and you're playing full out in every aspect of your life. You're putting up your steps to success during the week, you know, at the beginning of the week. You're actively participating in every aspect of your life. So well done, playing full out. But that, you know, then there's the next level of playing full out. So it's in all those aspects that we want to look at as where we're playing or not playing full out. So there's all the things that we're doing and what we're working on ourselves, and absolutely we need to be playing full out in that regard. And we also need to be playing full out in action. You know, I know all of you know I'm a great advocate, and you know, have absolutely seen the powerful results that you get from taking the right actions and not getting stuck in busyness, or not getting stuck full stop, and taking the powerful action steps that you need to be taking every week to get the result that you want in your business. Every single one of you in this program have a goal that you have set in regards to a financial return, in regards to your business growth. And I, you know, pretty much go through this every week, that, you know, it's not good enough to be playing around the edges and not stepping into those places that make you feel uncomfortable, where you know taking that action step is going to have a huge impact on your business. And this is around having the right conversations, or picking up the telephone, or whatever those action steps are that you know that you need to take. Those are the most important action steps that are going to have the most impact on your business. So I want you to all stop right now and think about 2 key things in your business that you are not doing now, or you're not doing as effectively, or you're not doing enough of, that are going to change everything for you. They're going to change the game for you if you start doing them, doing more of them, and make this your number 1 priority. So at the end of the day, for every single person, it's about getting the sale, or you know what, you know, if we look at, say, Deborah, getting the listing, picks, getting that person to be, you know, enrolled in your business, is asking the question and getting that to happen. You know, just looking at every single one of you, what do you need to be doing to get the sale? So if there's no opportunity right now in front of you to get the sale, to have the sales conversation, whatever that sales conversation looks like, it's like, what are the, you know, it's taking it back again. So it's that reverse engineering. So everything that you've got in your what's the word I'm looking for? You know, right in front of you at this moment, that you can have a sales conversation. You know, so it's first of all looking at all those opportunities. So all the people that you need to follow up on, all the old leads, what are the, you know, how can you most quickly have as many sales conversations as you can? If you've exhausted all those that are obvious right there in front of you right now, then reverse engineering, what's the step before that? The step before that is, what are the marketing activities that you need to be doing to generate the leads to be able to have the sales conversation? So what are those marketing activities? Is it cold calling? Is it putting out flyers? I don't know, whatever, you know what those things are in your business, right? What are those key marketing activities that are based on your, you know, your simple kind of strategies that you need to be doing right now? Because that's going to get the result that you want, is money in the bank. So it's the sales opportunity. And then before that, if you don't have any right now, or if you've exhausted them all, then it's marketing. So of course you need to be doing both, right? Because you can look at all your leads right now and that you have, that you can follow up on and have the sales conversation. But unless you have some marketing or some activities happening at the same time, you're going to have nothing next week. So this is what you need to be working on from those action steps. So those are the activities that need to have the most focus. That's what your steps to success need to be focused on every week, as to those sales conversations that you can have, and what marketing activities do you need to be doing to get as quickly as possible to get the leads coming in so that you can have the conversations. Okay, so that's the playing full out. I just, I keep hammering this one, I guess, around stop skirting around the edges, stop busyness, stop anything that we that you lump, and you know what they are, into what I call your procrastination bucket. So all those things where it's avoidance, scattered, lack of focus, procrastination itself, where you just keep putting it off. But it's, sometimes you can get into that paralysis mode of not being productive in the areas that you need to be productive. Don't let yourself off the hook when you know that you're just being busy for the sake of being busy and doing all these other, like kind of little things that are not the important things. Distracted by emails, distracted by Facebook, distracted by, other conversations that you can have, and telling yourself and justifying being able to do that. When you stop and sit with, what's really going on, you know that those are not the activities that you need to be doing. And then, as we said before, the playing full out on the other side, the you side, it's really embracing some of these concepts that we're going through and some of the activities that we're going through for you to be able to build your strength and your courage and really step into your power. And one of them, as most of you know, is, we're just going to jump that one for a moment, is the morning ritual. Everybody now has the recording, maybe apart from Elizabeth, has the recording with me talking you through your morning ritual. For the days that you feel you don't want to be doing it with your own music and talking yourself through the process, then use the recording. In fact, use the recording every day if it's going to give you a better outcome. That really all you have to do is press play and listen to me and listen to the music and go. Again, this is playing full out. Go there. The visualization, whatever aspect, if you feel it's not kind of happening for you, just trust and let go and just go where you go. But be present right in that moment and play full out, as in engage with the process. Go as deep as you can. When in the recording I talk about, go to a place where you felt most grateful. Just really embrace that and go there. Get emotional. That's what I want for you, is get emotional in every aspect of that process. And of course, in beast mode, and when you're yelling out your new affirmations, do it with everything you've got. Yelling, moving, just do it where you don't care even if somebody's right outside the window and listening to you. Because right now most of you are probably still in that stage of, I don't want anybody to be around when I'm doing this. I don't want to be somewhere where someone's going to hear me. But when we get further down the track, I want you to be in a place of you really don't care, because this, again, I can't stress it enough how powerful this process is if you embrace it. Do it every day, play it 100%. So just back to steps to success, we kind of stopped there for a minute and talked about playing full out and identifying what those key things are. This is what I want in your steps to success, is every action step that you're taking to be identified on a Monday. So that's like your Bible, your guide for the week as to what activities you need to be doing. You know, Tuesday a check-in, and it might be that you need to have had, 20 conversations, and that you're going to actually, like, I don't know, picks for you. Maybe it's 20 conversations, and your intention is that you go into every one of those conversations that they are going to, start using your products, and you're going to have the business opportunity conversation with them. Lynn, for you, what are your steps? You're very involved at the moment in being in your business because that's the nature of it, and you've just started, but you've got to dedicate time to working on your business. And what are those key activities? It's the marketing activities and the sales activities. So marketing, or recontacting people, what is it? Allocating 2 hours a week and identifying what those activities are. So every single one of you, you've got key activities that you need to be doing. They are the most important, and they are the basis of your steps to success. That's your guide for the week, and you need to own that you will complete that no matter what, because you're not going to get the growth in your business unless you're doing the key activities. Okay, so we just want to step into a little bit more about productivity. This is, kind of works alongside what you're doing in your steps to success. So let's say, you've got certain activities, certain things that you need to achieve in a day that are on your basic to-do list. This might be outside your actual steps to success. These are all the things, the components that make up your steps to success. So say it is you're going to be, creating a new flyer and going and delivering 1,000 flyers, let's say it's that. So it's about creating that flyer. But it also might be in the sales process, it might be picking up the phone and making 10 phone calls. So how can you be as productive as possible in the time frame that you've got to be productive and effective? So I want to know from you, what do you feel is standing in your way of getting everything done that needs to be done in the time frame that you've got? And sometimes we think we've got more time than we have, so we've got to really be as effective as possible. This afternoon I posted a quick video up in the Extraordinary Woman general group about productivity, because I've got, as we all do, an awful lot going on right now. So I had 3 hours this afternoon to hammer out some things that I needed to get done. Launching a webinar, need to put some slides together for tonight, just a big long list of to-dos. So what can mean that you're as productive as possible? And some of those things, it's not some of those biggie things that we feel are, like we're fearful of going there. We have a whole lot of discomfort around doing those things. It's more the kind of the mundane. I don't particularly like doing them, or like, oh, there's things that I have to do. I'm not kind of in my element doing these things because it's not what I love to do, but they're things that have to get done. So how can you be as productive doing those things? So I want to look at what's standing in your way, but I want you to have a look at allocating yourself the time. So you've got, let's say you've got, 3 hours, and you've got to, kind of hammer out all these things, get all these things done. Here's just the tip that I work with that is hugely effective for me, and I want you all to give this a try. It's kind of, I don't know any of you that have kind of worked with like a power hour or something like that, where it's like, okay, you set the clock, it's 1 o'clock, you go to 2 o'clock, and you get as much done as you can. And that's one little tip, and it's a really cool one. But the other one that I really love is, you know, you've got, let's say you've got 5 things that you need to achieve. Fairly chunky things, but you can look at it and go, okay, and let's take, what shall I use as an example? Let's take, okay, I'm putting together, you know, the slides for this webinar. So, actually I'm going to use, if I'm doing a webinar that's out to kind of like it's a marketing webinar, because I've got to do an ad for that as well, and I've got to do a landing page on my website, which, you know, at the moment I'm still doing myself. So I want to get this hammered out as quickly as possible. The number one rule here, which I'm sure you all know, or you've well and truly heard me say time and time again, and that is about kind of productivity and progress over perfection. Because we can put something together and go, oh, it's not quite right, and it needs to be a bit prettier, and is it really professional enough? Or, you know, and 3 hours have gone by and all we've done is put together 2 slides of a webinar. And you take your own slant on this as to what you do in regards to the types of things that are on your to-do list and the things that you need to do, and how you can let perfectionism, or, you know, kind of you telling yourself it has to be more professional or whatever, to run away with your time and your day. So I want you to let go of anything around perfectionism and just get it done. It's about making progress and productivity, because it's never going to be perfect, and it's always only your version of perfect. The person seeing it, you might think it's perfect, and the person that's going to view it is going to go, oh, I don't like that, and she hasn't done this, and oh, I've already done this, or, I mean, not that they are anyway, but I just want you to get that it's never going to be perfect, and what's perfect to you might not be to somebody else, and vice versa. So let go of all that and just do it. So back to the concept that I was originally talking about around productivity, and okay, so you've got all these things to do. So I'm going to use putting together a webinar, and I'm going to use the basics. I've got to put together some slides on a PowerPoint presentation so that that's all ready to go, and I can, you know, present the webinar. I've got to build the ad, so I've got to find an image and put together some content for the ad and put that up on Facebook. Then I've got to have a landing page so that when they click the link on Facebook, they go to my landing page and they can sign up. So there's these things to do. So I look at them and go, okay, how much time do I need to allocate for each activity without getting carried away, and making sure that I'm just allocating a reasonable amount of time. So let's say I need half an hour, and I'm just plucking time frames out of the air. I need half an hour to put together the slides, the PowerPoint presentation. I need half an hour to create an image with the words. I need half an hour to build the content of the ad, and I need half an hour to put together the basics of the landing page. Now let's say an hour. Okay, so I'm starting at 1. So 1:30 I should have the first project done. An hour later I should have the next project done, and an hour after that the next project done. So, okay, it's 1 o'clock, that's when I'm going to start. So it's like setting the clock. Right, pump it out, get in, do it. And I'm kind of having this little game with myself. What's the time now? Okay, it's 1:15. Oh, I'm not very far through. Okay, so I'm kind of racing against myself to get it done. So my goal is that I finish well before, or before the time frame I've set myself. And sometimes I even play an even, you know, like a more devious game, in that I give myself a little bit longer than I know I need. But I'll tell you what, it feels really good when you are racing against yourself to get something finished, and you finish ahead of time. So that first project, it was going to take me half an hour, 1 to 1:30, and I finish at 20 past. Woohoo! That feels cool. So I'm even more inspired and motivated to get stuck in straight away to the next one. And I'm working away through that, checking the time, and I finished that one quarter of an hour earlier than it takes me quarter of an hour less time. So it's now I've accumulated, 25 minutes I've got up my sleeve. So I start straight away, and I'm even more on fire about getting the next bit done. So by the time I finish the whole project, I'm feeling buzzed, and I've got maybe 45 minutes up my sleeve. Now I then can decide, this is my reward for myself, is I can go and do something just for myself. I can whatever, go and sit outside, go and, sit quietly at the table with a book while I'm having my lunch instead of, eating while I'm doing something. Whatever it is for you, you can have that as your time. And it's like, it is your reward, and there's no kind of guilt attached to that, because it's like, whoa, I've just done something pretty cool to enable me to be able to have this as a reward. Or you can get stuck into the next project or go back and tidy up anything, but still feeling really buzzed, because at the end of the day, you've probably achieved, whether it took you the whole time or even longer, you've probably achieved more in that time frame than you would have if you hadn't done anything other than gone into it thinking, oh, I don't really feel like doing this right now, and I'm not really feeling very inspired. It's like, it's just a reason to be able to, it's like playing a different game. The game is not about what you have to do, it's about beating the clock and beating yourself and having a reward at the end. So that's my little bit on productivity. So what else can you do to be even more productive and effective and efficient in what needs to be done? Because you all know, I'm sure, how powerful it is when you get things ticked off, that to-do list, that slot sheet. When there's, big ticks, I've got my page here from my to-do list for today, for this afternoon, and I love seeing all these ticks. What a cool feeling. Way better than knowing you've got to transfer all those things over to tomorrow's to-do list or the next day or the next day. So it's just using some of these cool little, techniques that can make the world of difference. Okay. So that's kind of our action side of the training tonight. Now I want to go into, the you side of the training. So I really want you to sit quietly and think about the concept of your head versus your heart. Just even maybe close your eyes and think about what that kind of means to you right now. Head versus heart. In everything that you do, I want you to think more about how you can be operating from your heart and not your head. And for those of us who are real kind of what we call auditory digital, which means we kind of like analyze everything in our head, that we're really in our head type people. And this is one of my, it still is, but especially in the past, was my main mode of operation, if you like. So for those of you who know about the different, the different ways in which we operate, so we're either visual or kinesthetic or auditory or auditory digital. So that's visual, obviously, that's pretty self-explanatory. Auditory is hearing, so we're very susceptible to the spoken word and sound. And kinesthetic, so it's feeling. You can sometimes get this from languaging. I feel this. Visual people is I see what you mean. auditory people is, I hear what you're saying. And auditory digital is, you know, the analysis in the head, and that will be more like, I think. So it's where you go, that first place that you go. And me, I'm visual and auditory digital. That's my first place to go. So, but we get caught up in our heads, right? And I'm pretty sure all of you will identify with this, where we go into analysis and we've got to do the research, and we've got to, especially if something goes wrong, we go to this combination of negative emotion and something going on, thinking, analysing, and trying to be, it's almost kind of like the crossover between emotional and logical. So I want you to think about the concept of when you know you're getting in your head around something, because all the answers aren't really in your head. We think we need to think about things. We think we need to, you know, like analyse. But often we don't need to do that at all. It's like most of us need to stop doing that and operate from our heart. So it's like going to that intuitive place. When we say operating from our heart, we're really more talking about operating from who we really are, and also from like from higher power. So I just want you to, when you feel like you're getting stuck in your head, stop. Close your eyes and visualize that you're kind of like chopped your head off and you drop down into your heart. And find the answers from that place. So this is also like kind of building your intuitive muscle as well, because you're all intuitive. But whether you even hear that or acknowledge that is one thing, and then the next thing is whether you take action on it. But that's a whole other training, but I just want you to start really embracing more of operating from your heart versus your head. So this kind of moves into talking about your authentic self. And all of you, I'm sure, have had a touch on this, either with me or in, you know, all sorts of other different aspects of your life, whether you've done, you know, different trainings or exposure that you've had. It's talking about who we really are. So I just want to kind of use this model to really get you clear, because, you know, when we want to do anything, the best outcome is going to be for everybody concerned, yourself and anybody else that you're interacting with, as if you're operating from your authentic self. So I just want to kind of explain a little bit more about this. So we were all born authentic, right? We came out of the mother's womb in our purest form. So what happens is, as we get older, we're influenced by all sorts of different things. Our parents, our community. So we create different levels of kind of operating practice, if you like, to keep ourselves safe. But what happens is this gets built, you know, kind of built up, our experiences. And what happens is, you know, and we're talking again about the disempowering aspects, because, you know, of course there's empowering aspects, but we're not trying to kind of, like, we want to strengthen and build that side of ourselves, but we also want to let go of all the disempowering aspects. So this is kind of what we're working on, so that we can step more into the empowered side of ourselves. So we have, you know, we build up the masks. If you have a look here, we've got our authentic selves, and that first dotted line represents what we call our default. So it becomes our default operating state. So those are all, that's like the masks or the filters that we put over ourselves, we put over our authentic self. And then we operate through that mask or through those filters. And that second dotted line in that light blue shaded area becomes our persona. So this is made up of all the effects of all the beliefs from our parents, our community, our religion, whatever those aspects are, but they may not serve us, right? But we operate through that, and then we create this persona, which is not our authentic self. It is not our natural way of being. So when we're able to operate from our authentic self, what does that mean? We're not presenting any masks to the world. We're not feeling like we have to be anybody other than who we know ourselves to be, our authentic self. We have a sense of freedom because that lies in being authentic. We don't have projections from our past, things that might have gone on in the past that we think we're going to recreate in the future. We have fear because of we don't know what's out there. We're only basing everything on what we already know. So some of you I've had this conversation with, the study of ontology is the study of what it is to be human. And from the ages of 3 to 5, we form what we term as our default identity. That's when the inner critic is formed. That's when the, that monkey mind is created, the one that says you can't really do it or you're not good enough. All those beliefs that we hold as true, that we, those decisions that we make about ourselves when we're, as a child. So that persona is like the mask that we hide behind. This is the kind of the state of looking good, having to get it right, having things handled, and operating over the top of fear. And of course there's no freedom there, right? So I want you to think about that concept of the mask for you. What's your mask made up of? And how can you best let go of that so that you're operating from your authentic self? Because the costs of operating from that persona and through that mask are huge. So the key to no longer operating through those masks and filters, the first aspect is awareness. Awareness that this is what goes on. We're all the same. That we end up letting experiences that we label as disempowering, and those beliefs that don't serve us, that have been created, built up, for some of us, years and years and years and years. The first part of being able to do something about it, of course, is awareness. So I want at this stage for you guys to really just embrace that awareness and ask yourself, in what ways do you know that you're operating through this mask, and what effect is that having? And what are those beliefs and that story that you tell yourself about yourself and the world? It's not just about ourselves, it's what we believe about the world. That's part of the mask, but it doesn't serve us. We were born fearless and intuitive. but it's all these experiences and all these, and all this impact from our community, our parents, who you know, we just keeps generationally building up as well. So what can you do to let go of some of these masks or layers of mask and operate from who you truly are? Because it's like, who would you be? Who would you really be if you were living from your authentic self? Where you were born fearless, intuitive, and connected, and free. Okay, so this kind of leads into, you know, just wanting to explore some different concepts or some new depths to some old concepts that you know, you may already be aware of. So it's the same kind of thing that we're going through tonight. So this is called the be versus do model. So it's about operating from a beingness state as opposed to a doingness state. So it's when we're disconnected from our authentic self, when we're disconnected from like our higher self, from, you know, the universal grid, if you like, the universe, God, whatever you deem it to be or you call it. That's when we are doing life, where things are hard, where the struggle, stress, overwhelm, anxiety, pressure, frustration, loss of vitality, loss of power, and no freedom. So you see the man in the boat, it's like we're trying to row upstream against the tide, against the current. Oh my gosh, how hard is that? Right? I know you all know what I'm talking about. That's when you're operating from a doingness state, when you are doing life. Whoops. Let's just jump back. When we're operating from a beingness state, we are connected. We are operating from our authentic self. We are co-creating with the higher power. That's when we're in the zone. We experience flow and ease and peace. We attract synchronistic opportunities. We are manifesting, where your goals come to you like a leaf on the river. See that man in the boat? When we're operating from who we are, who we be, from our beingness state, we actually let go of those oars. The boat naturally turns around and we float with the current, with the tide. There's no effort, there's no struggle. So I want you to really grasp this concept of who you are being and operate from a being state and not a doing state. So again, this all starts with awareness and kind of experimenting with, you know, questions to yourself about when, you know, sort of when you're experiencing struggle and overwhelm and all those things that feel hard. It's the awareness first of all. And then choosing something different. Because again, what do we keep telling ourselves? If we tell ourselves, this is hard, this is a struggle, this is pressure, I'm feeling that I haven't got any control, I'm frustrated, whatever it is, it's then saying, acknowledging that you have a choice, because everything is a choice. And I know sometimes, especially when you're in that place of hard and struggle and overwhelm and stress, you feel you don't have a choice, but you 100% have a choice. The first choice is to stop saying everything's hard, stop seeing everything as being hard. It's a bit, if we jump back to that productivity conversation, it's like you can look at that list and start kind of getting into an emotional state about it, which is overwhelm and feeling frustrated, feeling the pressure of it, the stress of it. Like you can just look at a list, right? And often you don't even have a list. It's like just all bouncing around in your head, and it's like, all these things I've got to do, and all this pressure, and people want a bit of me. It's like that's the negative emotional response. But when you know you have a choice, and then you can choose not to see it as hard